Yeah.
Shout out to JPP.
Yeah, shout out to JP. Speaking of JP, we guys must talk about the NFL transactions that's occurred within the last couple of months to this new NFL season.
Correct. Free agency got kicked off. A lot of things were going on. A lot of players moving around.
Yeah, we had some big names like Patriots trading Brandon Cooks to the Rams.
I was shocked, honestly.
For a first round pick and a sixth round, and they giving up a fourth.
I thought it was just a shock.
Yeah,
I didn't see that coming. First,
it was a big surprise.
Brandon Cooks was my pick for fantasy breakout player of the year last year, and I thought he had a very good season. I thought he was a great fit in New England. I just look like this is New England looking at the best possible move here, where it's a first round pick for a wide receiver. Always.
I think. Honestly, thinking, I don't think Patriots was shopping him around. I think the Rams called.
Yeah.
I honestly think the Rams called and offered like, yo, we're willing to give up for one of your guys. After they lost Sammy Watkins, they needed someone to fill in that void. They got rid of Tavon Austin. They need someone to fill that void that can help stretch the field and allow Gurley to really expose defenses in the next coming years.
True.
So I figured the Patriots heard that and said that's a dream come true trade. They have a couple of holes they want to fill in. They got a lot of aging players that they need to replace.
Right.
As far as within the offensive line, the defensive end core, the cornerback situation, and as well as wide receiver. They get Wes Welker back. They did pick up Jordan Matthews out of the Buffalo Bills. He actually is a pretty solid receiver when healthy. So, trust and believe the Patriots will be back where they were, like they always are, in Super Bowl contention.
Yeah, they made some good moves. I actually saw a mock draft this morning actually that had the Patriots trading up with that first round pick from the Rams and snatching up Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe drop the phone because that to me would be the scariest thing that could happen in the draft. Like not Josh Rosen or Sam Darnold going to New England, but if a Lamar Jackson got into Bill Belichick's hands for the next 10 years, there will be nobody else winning a Super Bowl but New England for the next 10 years. That's how confident I am in Lamar Jackson's talent.
That's big confidence right there. But it's a team sport, and I don't think the quarterback can completely win it. We've seen Tom Brady put up about one of the biggest numbers in the Super Bowl and still lost.
Yeah, shout out to Jets.
So, also with the Rams, this is also added to them picking up Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah, the Rams had an amazing all-star.
The one question I have that I don't think no one's really talking about is who's going to play the right side, Peters or Talib? Because they both are known. I mean, the left side. They're both known to play on the left side of that cornerback position, and they're known to stay on that one side.
Yeah.
I don't know how different that is to play coming off on the opposite side as a cornerback.
Correct.
I think it's most likely might be Peters on the opposite side, though.
I don't want to call a team a Super Bowl contending team off of some on-paper moves, but the Rams have made some impressive on-paper.
They look like Jacksonville when they made these moves.
I'm gonna say a little better because we
I'm just saying
believe in
in
their
general.
quarterback a lot more than we
Exactly.
did, and we believe in their running game a lot more than we did at the time.
But it makes the NFC East very interesting when now the Eagles facing the Rams. It's gonna be interesting. Coming out the East.
They got the Rams for this offseason. They signed John Sullivan, 2 years, $15 million center.
Former Minnesota Vikings center.
Correct. They got
he actually had
Ndamukong Suh, one of the best defensive tackles in the game. They signed him to go along with Aaron Donald, the best defensive tackle in the game. So that's going to be incredible up front. Then they added Aqib Talib from Denver. They added Marcus Peters, one of the best, probably top 5 corner in the actual league right now. They also added named Nikhil Roby-Coleman, one of the better slot corners in the game. 3 years, $15 million. So they got 3 impressive corners
to go along with
LaMarcus
Joyner playing safety. And and who was a former cornerback. It's all ball hawkers back there.
Yeah.
So I guess they're getting a page where they want to press everybody and let their pass rushers knock everyone out.
Correct. They had the punter, my favorite punter in the league.
Marcus King.
By John Gruden.
Oh yeah, he's been doing a lot. And I know you've been speaking. I know you've been speaking a lot of words about him, especially between the whole cutting the crab tree for Jordy Nelson.
I'm not so sure about John Gruden right now.
I'm not questioning the same way you are. I'm just questioning, like, what is he necessarily doing?
Because the punter now is actually one of the more talented punters right now in the league. I believe it's Marquette King, right?
Marquette King, and at
I hope the Giants snatch him up, please.
Who was it? Shane? No. Broncos picked him up for a 3-year deal. Yeah, you know they like controversial players. They don't care.
Damn, controversy.
I'm giving what they call controversial players. You know, players that make showboating actions. So you know what?
Players with character.
He's gonna do dancing moves with Von Miller, and then when he's punting the ball, and he's like, "Hey, get this sack, boy."
Yeah, I kind of wish Khalid was still over there.
It would now be really, it'd been nice and dope. But
okay.
He also got rid of Janikowski. So it's just now you remove your whole special teams, and then they got rid of Cordell Patterson. So it's just their whole special teams is getting a whole rebuild. Their whole special teams is getting a rebuild. So it's very interesting what they're doing over there. I'm just waiting to see what's going on in Raider Nation.
Marquette King signed a 3-year deal with Denver.
My
guy Nat Bird, heavy hitting safety, looks like he signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
We also have some players here. It looks like William Gay, former corner from the Steelers. I saw he signed with the Giants.
Yeah, he signed with the Giants.
Coney Early, defensive.
Connie Ely.
Yes, signed with Dallas.
Yeah, Texans picked up Tyrann Mathieu on a nice little 1-year deal.
I like that move. I really do.
Especially for the Texans, who had very trouble in the secondary. I mentioned that they would have coming into the season, and especially with pass rushers J.J. Watt and Merciless both out for the season, it definitely was a struggle back there. So this is going to be very upgrade for them in that backfield. We spoke about JPP going to the Bucks.
I see Colts Najee Good signed him. It looks like a free agency 1-year deal.
Yeah, it's a special teams most likely.
I've heard his name quite a bit.
But he actually had a pretty good 05 season when he played for the Eagles. Good rotational player.
Oh, that's a while ago. Shout out to Robert Griffin III, getting picked up by the Baltimore Ravens on a 1-year deal.
That was really dope.
I think he just replaces where Colin Kaepernick should have been signed to that backup deal last year.
Colin Kaepernick did a sacrifice move. Okay, that's the best I can give it at this point because. Sure. The league is donating a certain amount of money for social injustice and for all causes to where they have assigned players who will lead into the nation, like where they send and spend money on helping. But unfortunately, he had to use his job to give it. And hey, you gotta appreciate him for that.
We did have Mr. Kirk Cousins did get his deal.
He got his
fully guaranteed deal.
I never heard someone get a fully guaranteed.
So
you had a bunch of teams to play.
So 2 straight years he was the franchise tag, enormous money for the position.
Never let us team to a playoff.
Years after that, he gets guaranteed money. So he gets a 5-year fully guaranteed contract virtually.
You know what's funny? It's funny how he gets that fully guaranteed, but a person like Alex Smith, who's brought multiple teams to playoffs,
multiple division titles,
and hasn't won. Yeah, hasn't gotten the big bucks that he probably deserves.
I don't even
meanwhile,
think Kirk Cousins ever won a division title.
Kirk Cousins has never made a playoff game.
Oh wow!
So I think his best record was 9-6.
8-7-1. I'm not trying to knock Kirk Cousins, but I think of him as Ryan Fitzpatrick.
But I think
when he signed that deal with the Bills, he was a good quarterback, a starting quality quarterback. But now we look at were the Bills making the best decision. They lost Travis Henry off of that. And they never was quite able to recover as a team because of that.
Never, ever. And
whereas, Ryan had some decent years, but not the years that would be worth the money that the Bills had invested in him at that time. I think Minnesota, I like the pickup from Trevor Siemian to back him up. In case Kirk Cousins struggles a little bit, you can always fake an injury and let Siemian take over the load.
Siemian has ball security issues, but he can, with that offensive line, he can probably maneuver best.
I like to see Brock Osweiler also got himself another deal.
Oh gosh,
he got to be his backup of Tannehill in Miami.
Yeah, Sheldon Richardson got picked up by the Vikings.
Yeah, that was a nice pickup.
Ryan Jensen to the Bucks. I think that was a really good pickup for the offensive line. The Jets picking up Isaiah Crowell. I think that was one of the best running backs, free agent running backs that came out there. That was a good pickup to go with that major backfield already.
Correct. I like the defensive end Adrian Claiborne from former Falcon. He got signed by the New England Patriots on a 2-year deal.
I think that's a good fit for him.
I think it's a great fit.
That's a good spot.
I think he fits well.
Yeah, I think that puts him in a good position. Even though, like, I think he ended the season with 9 sacks, 6 coming out of the Dallas game with the starting left tackle. But he was a good run-stopping defensive end,
Right.
and I think he works well there. Then Terry Poe going to the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good nice because they got rid of a star Luet, and he went to the Bills.
Mm-hmm. I like the Saints reward their guys. Like Drew Brees, 2 more years, $50 million.
Mm-hmm.
There's no issues. Like Drew Brees is almost 40 years old, but he quietly just continues to stay there. Everything stays in place. They have a very good team. I wouldn't be shocked next year if the Saints win a Super Bowl. That's how much I like what
Honestly,
they have in place.
I had them in the Super Bowl this season, but that unfortunate missed tackle was the reason why they didn't make it.
Yeah.
Because who knows if they play
Eagles.
But
that's a real conspiracy for me.
My little rookie.
I don't believe in like people playing football for that long, making that kind of mistake. That looks very funny.
I don't know. I see it happening. A rookie, first time in a playoff game, that does happen.
You're a rookie in the NFL, but you're not a rookie to that level of football.
But I'm just saying, in general, I've seen players make mistakes. I've seen LeBron James, like...
LeBron James not playing football.
I'm just saying...
tackle, man. Like, it's not missing the
I've seen missed tackles. You seen Marshawn Lynch run through everyone?
Yeah, but he ran through him. Like, he at least grabbed his ankles and he ran through it. This guy jumped into a whole other space. Like, he missed the entire body.
Yo, you ever like...
Yo, he didn't make a move. He was in the air.
You ever play Madden and get hyped and hit the stick? That's what he did.
Yo, but
you got hyped.
That's Madden.
Yo,
I made that mistake because of controlling. No, you don't know what I'm trying to do.
I'm just saying in general, like, I think of it as this.
Yeah, that was weird.
I'm a young rookie.
It's weird.
I'm about to make the...
You was playing
I'm about to make the game-winning tackle.
You played 16 full games this season.
I'm about to make the game-winning
human being.
I'm about to make... Honestly, this season...
He didn't even make a move.
Honestly, this season, he had troubles with missed tackles. He was not even the best tackle and safety out there. The reason he was out there was through injury. So the fact that he's not the best tackler, he's actually more of a ball hawker. So, I'm just saying...
She was sus.
Also, Safari and Jenkins going to the Jags, I think that's a good pickup for them. Because he actually had a good season with the Jets. With their medium.
Speaking of Jets, I think the Jets had a pretty good offseason here. They traded up, so they'll probably get Josh Rosen or
Baker,
Josh Allen in the draft. But they also signed Teddy Bridgewater to kind of see what he has. Like, if Teddy's able to really fit in here, this becomes almost a steal for them.
And then spent millions of dollars to bring back
Josh McCown.
Yes.
So they're going to compete for that job. They also brought in Terrell Pryor. They also brought in Bucky Hodges, that's the tight end you spoke about. They brought in Travis Swanson, a center. A tackle, Mike Pennon, 3 years, $12 million.
Yeah, they get Ryan Anderson back. He's not going to jail for the situation.
Anumar, the wide receiver, he comes back from
he comes from his neck injury.
They brought in a couple corners and Tremaine Johnson. That was a big time contract, 5 years, $72 million.
Big money.
And they re-signed Morris Claiborne when they got the young safeties behind them. So the secondary is pretty set.
I think they need upgrades at cornerback position, mainly. Marcus Claiborne didn't have his greatest season last year.
Yeah, one of his better years.
No, I think he had better years in Cowboys. He had a lot of pass interference calls. He was holding a lot last year.
That's what corners do.
Hey, man, you can't get caught, though. That means you're not even doing good at your craft. So, I think they need better there. Linebacker position, they're going to probably need some more upgrades. But besides that, I don't know with the Jets. I want to say they might look better, but I don't know.
The reason I say I like the Jets is because I really like the head coach.
I really want to see how Teddy Bridgewater plays.
Yes.
I think that would really determine how far the Jets go.
I don't even look at Teddy Bridgewater because I think of me, in the football, it's so much about the coaching staff getting the players in the right position because they're at that level. They're all pretty talented. Mm-hmm. So when I look at like the coaches, like Pete Carroll, I respect them a lot. Bill Belichick, I respect them a lot. Andy Reid. These coaches are always in the thick of things. Their teams are always in the thick of things because I think they're great head coaches. So when I look at the Jets head coach, he showed with horrible teams every year. They at least 5-6 wins with just garbage teams.
They were predicted to have only 2 wins this season, and they had about 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So he's continuously overachieved with these garbage teams. Lack of talented teams that he's had good seasons with.
I can't even say lack of talent. They're very young offensive teams.
Josh McCown's your quarterback?
No, man, that's a young offensive team.
Who's your wide receiver? It's like some kid that we still don't know his name.
This is a young offensive
He's
talent.
not talented players. These are not first round picks. These are second round picks.
There's a lot of third and sixth round draft picks who are talented.
They get developed.
But I'm saying, that's what I said. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm not giving up the fact that they're not talented. You're giving up the fact that they're not talented. I'm saying they're talented. They're just were young or they're not developed.
They had like under-talented players. And
the defense always kept them in, and I think they lost a lot of defender players this year. So I think that might be just their little.
I feel like they lost more last year, and they even held it up and played at a high level.
I want to see what that defensive line looks like.
Back-to-back years, he's lost a lot of talent and has not been replenished by a lot, and been able to have the Jets very competitive. So I think now that they brought in some more talent finally into the Jets, they brought in a running back, Crowell, that you mentioned. They brought in Terrell Pryor this year. They get that new again. Bridgewater. I think the Jets now just have more talent. And now more talent under
I still think it's still a development talent, but we'll see.
I can see Jets
it's a whole bunch of new
games, 8 games next year.
We shall see.
Depending upon schedule. The third draft pick is a big time pick for them.
I think if I was the Jets, I would not be picking a quarterback, but that's what they're going to do anyway.
I mean, if I was the Jets, I'm definitely taking a quarterback.
I'm definitely taking
this position.
I think if I'm in that position, I'm taking Bradley Chubb.
After I traded up and all that, I ain't taking no Bradley Chubb because the Jets have already had dominant defensive linemen over the last 3 years.
But honestly, trading all your draft picks, you might as well go for a quarterback.
Correct. I stayed where he was and got Bradley Chubb.
I just think if you're gonna get it, you better do the best research on getting a quarterback.
I don't even think it's research. It's about making sure that you actually put him in the best. So if you draft Josh,
but that's all about research.
I don't even think it's about research.
How is it not about research?
I think it's when you bring them into training camp and you see for what.
That's research.
I don't think that's research.
How's that? I think
research would be looking on his pass. I don't really need his pass once I got him in camp.
But I think that's exactly what they do. They do look at the pass. The fact of Josh Rosen, for instance, as you mentioned, has off the field issues. They're going to want to consider that because they don't want to bring in a player that has off the field issues. They already had the problem with who's the guy they just shipped out of here that didn't like the coach? Sheldon, not Richardson. Was it Richardson? Wilkerson. So you're not going to want the same situation with your quarterback, and then you already find out that, okay, he has leg injuries. He's immobile. Like, that's the research you want to find out, like, okay, is he a stand in the pocket? Is our offensive line mobile enough to keep him where, okay, can he stay in the pocket? Can he be mobile around the pocket? Can he circle around the pocket? Does he open his eyes? Does he does this? Does he does that? So I think the research is very necessary, especially when you're at that top tier in the draft.
To me, I'm saying, like, that should already be done. Like, I'm not even looking at that at this point. I feel like that should have been done before we even got to this point. By the time we got to the pro day, that should have been done. On the pro day, we should be looking for things for us. Yeah. With that research that you're speaking about, I think should already be done well in advance. So now when I come down to I'm drafting that quarterback, it should be where do I see him applying my philosophy. So I think each head coach has a different philosophy on what they feel is a successful football offense, right? So let's say Aaron Rodgers doesn't fit every head coach's vision.
Of course not.
Some are going to like him a little more than others, right? Because of his skill set versus, say, a Tom Brady or a Carson Wentz.
It depends on offense. If it's spread offense, it's a pro offense.
So now it comes down to the GM and the actual head coach with his McCadden and Bowles. Say Bowles might like a quarterback that can hit intermediate passes and stick to protecting the ball and gain a running offense. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, you're probably looking now at Sam Darnold. Because that person would actually fit that kind of offense going forward. Not a Josh Rosen, who's more somebody that you want to expand the offense, bring in more wide. That's not Todd Bowles' ideology of a great offense. So you fit who you're and again, because then my idea is like from that point, when you bring the player in, he fits already your thought of football. So when you're developing him and you're trying to win games, you're both working on the same page. So versus you just picking somebody off of, this might be the best talent. But then you bring him in and like you believe in running the ball first, and this quarterback believes in throwing it out, so he's throwing interceptions because he wants to throw the ball.
Well, there's some teams that tend to pick
then the head coach gets fired.
I'm saying there are teams that tend to pick players off of just strictly talent, and those are the teams that always drafting high in draft picks.
Yeah,
and Jets tend to be the ones that do that a lot. But
like I'm saying, the Christian Hackenberg thing, we didn't have a gauge of what they thought he would be for them. He's going to be a great thrower. He's going to be a great manager of the game.
See him play.
And again, I could care less as a fan because to me, it's like obviously they saw him in practice. So they know what he was and what he wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
So if in practice he couldn't get on, he couldn't defeat McCown or Geno Smith or whoever he couldn't beat to get on the field. Or what's the other guy?
He couldn't get in
the Tyler Bryce Petty. He couldn't beat Bryce Petty for 2 straight years.
When I found out that this kid was sitting there and they had to pick up free agents to play before him. Something wrong with the kid, but this is my.
I don't say something wrong with the kid. I say something's wrong with that coaching staff.
There's something. Oh yeah,
so whoever drafted you never had an idea what you wanted him for.
There's something wrong.
You didn't know what he was doing in college.
Because with I don't mind
that's a 2nd round pick.
But this is my thing. If you know you have a player that doesn't fit your thing, get rid of him. The reason I say get rid of him is you can tell, like you said. I'm saying that you do the research. Mm-hmm. You're saying that when you get him to him, you will develop him. Then when you finally get the kid into training camp, you know exactly what you got.
You should.
So then now, if he can't get into the field, I'm going to trade the kid or release the kid to make space for another potential player that can compete. If you're going to continuing to keep a player there.
I also feel like it takes a long time to develop a player. It could take something like 2 seasons to fully get a gauge of where this guy's potential is.
Potentially
and even
true.
if you have a star, like say you have Peyton Manning or I want to say Ryan Leaf.
But some players you can't necessarily say that every single it's a 2 years. Some players you can tell off rip, like, you know what? Especially with a team like what the Jets were looking at. Yeah. All right, you need someone in this quarterback competition. Mm-hmm. If you have 4 quarterbacks in this situation and none of them, I'm at least dumping the worst 2 to bring in another 2 to compete. Mm-hmm. We need a quarterback. Mm-hmm. To leave a kid in there for 2 years where he could potentially go to another team and probably work on a different system, mm-hmm. you're also tarnishing your season and your coaching staff as well as his career.
Okay, but I say 2 years makes sense. I mean, for most quarterbacks that I've seen successful in this league, 2 years was a number. Whether we go back to Steve Young, we go back to Aaron Rodgers, some of the most successful statistic quarterbacks sat for 2 years. It's just the reality of the fact. The longer they sat, the more successful all these quarterbacks have been. So now it's like
barn situations.
Andrew Luck and like a Peyton
Sometimes the greater player was in front and they didn't play, but that's mainly that they didn't really was sat.
What do you mean, right?
Like a Steve Young was behind Montana, so he couldn't play. It's not like
he could have played because he didn't start with that team.
But I'm just saying
he started another team where he got his chance, didn't do so well,
and then went to a team that fit his offense, his type of play.
Maybe not.
But that's what I'm just saying. I'm just saying, it's not necessarily a fact that if you sit,
I'm not saying it's a fact. I'm going off of statistical pride. This is what history says. I'm not using my opinion.
Oh, okay.
I'm only just saying off of history, the players that have sat longer statistically have had greater careers when they've gotten a chance to play after City. I'm only going to even Brett Favre that had to sit in his beginning of his career. He started in Atlanta, sat, get to Green Bay, sat, and then finally earned a starting job and became so another player that his first 3 years didn't really play, and then became a supreme star. You could throw another name with Kurt Warner. Didn't play in his early days, even was out of the NFL, and then came back in and became supreme. Like his numbers are supreme, off the charts. But when he actually played.
But then there's certain places like Russell Wilson, Peyton
Wilson also again.
But he
was developed.
But he started his first season.
Correct, but he wasn't penciled as a starter from day one.
But I'm not saying that he was. But I'm just saying in the fact of he didn't need to sit. But I'm just giving examples of players who didn't need to sit and started.
But then Russell Wilson's first year, it wasn't about him. Like for a player to be the focal point, I think that requires a much different.
But I think when you're the quarterback, it's never necessarily about you. It's about how you run the offense and how you do not tarnish the offense.
I think that's a different topic. So if we're arguing that the development of a quarterback, that's all I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the development of offense.
No. But I think development of a quarterback is how do you change the situation. So if I'm going to run the ball, how we're going to run the ball, how we're going to watch the defense. Like it's not as easy.
I'm just talking about developing the quarterback. But how good are you at doing your job?
But that is your job.
Now again, how good the wide receiver runs his route has nothing to do with the quarterback.
But when has
how good the actual offensive line blocks for you? Because David Carr could have had all the skills. But again, his team is what doesn't allow him to see how good he can.
But when the quarterback is on the field, he directs his offensive line on who to block, where to block.
But you're talking about the actual But
that's what I'm saying.
That doesn't tell you the skills though.
But I'm saying
that tells you where to be all I want.
But I'm just saying he tells you who to block, how to block. So when sometimes you see a lineman,
he might have that responsibility. That goes back to the offense.
No,
offense might not be your responsibility. A lot of coaches don't give that to their quarterback.
But when you're in that huddle and you see something, you're not. No one's talking to you after when you're in that. Like when it gets to the last 12 seconds of play clock. No one's talking to you. No one's telling you anything.
Last 15 seconds.
Last 15, yeah, about 15 seconds of the play clock. So when you see a leading blocker, leading blitzer, that's your time.
You're assuming that.
That's what I'm saying. That's your responsibility.
The head coach might not give that to his quarterback.
But that's your responsibility. When you see a blitzer,
we would hope. We would hope. Again, we now have history to say, like, a lot of these quarterbacks never even had this on their plate. Never even had this on their plate. Like, I want you to make sure you get the ball to Randy Moss. I don't care what you see out there. You don't know how to read the blitz. You don't know how to read zone. Just get the ball to Randy Moss. Or get the ball to Shannon Sharp.
Well, if you got
get the ball
Moss,
to AB to that.
You got Randy Moss. That's an easy job as a quarterback.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of these quarterbacks are not even that sharp. And that's what makes the difference between a Tom Brady that could play into his 40s, because he has all those elements in place. He's not just a thrower of the football. He's not just a follower of the playbook. You know what I mean? So that's the difference between Peyton Manning. But I'm not just a thrower of the football. I can actually read the defense.
It comes with experience. And I think
Drew Brees.
I think the best experience comes from playing.
But I mean, my point is just simply fact. Based on history, history tells me that if you make a quarterback sit for 6 months, or better yet, half a season to more than or less than 2 seasons, that quarterback usually has a much better chance of being successful in the long run. Based on history.
Oh, you know that's fine. So for me, I don't mind. I don't think a quarterback starts season game 1 or whatever case. I don't mind them starting midway in the season. Correct. It's just that the whole 2 years thing.
I'm not saying the full 2 years. I don't think you got to go full 2 months.
No, I'm saying because the whole thing is that.
But the idea of making you wait is like you have a plan in place for that quarterback. Oh, when they're ready, they get to play and then you let them play.
If that's the case, but my thing is when you pick a first round talent, especially when you're in the top 10, that's ready now players. That's essentially what you're thinking. So when you're picking a player in that first top 10, you're essentially thinking, this player can play for me now. If you did all that research, you did everything, you went to pro day, and you checked them out, you've been doing all your studying, you spent months and months of film of watching this kid, watching him in person, speaking to him, talking to him, and then you get to it, you already know this player has to be playing now.
Well, I would say, I agree with you on that. I do believe like top 10 players in the NFL for sure. These are players that are immediate starters and possible all-stars in less than 2 seasons.
So that's why I get my whole question with the Jets.
I can understand what you're saying in that spectrum, but I think that's also us agreeing that you shouldn't draft a quarterback that you don't think is ready to play for you right there.
And that's my question with the Jets.
So I can really agree. So I think for me, it comes back to, again, for those players and those pieces, it comes back to, again, who's the head coach, who's the GM?
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on what an offense should look like and what a quarterback in that offense should look like, and then you develop it. So let's say Christian Hackenberg. I personally I didn't look at him in his college. I haven't looked at his tape.
Can't really criticize him.
I don't know much about his what made him good in college and what made him excel at that time.
It's hard to.
So let's just say he was good at throwing the ball down the field, like maybe post routes. That's what he's good at, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or he was good at bubble screens, right? If you were drafting him under that assumption, and the players that you had at that time were like Eric Decker and Brandon Marshall that can actually fulfill that kind of offense with bubble screens or deep post routes, and you draft the Hackenberg to fulfill that kind of offense, and then you bring him in, and then you get rid of both those wide receivers, and you bring a whole new head coach who has a whole new philosophy on offense. Of course, Christian Hackenberg might never see the field.
That's true. Because
it's like everything that he was good at
for that
never fit. What this coaching staff now comes in and again they'll have a whole different image, and he might not fit their mold. So why they trying to almost recreate him as a quarterback and that young, it might be over for you. And you're trying to almost change your whole way of playing the game on the fly while you're not even confident in yourself as a player.
Like for me to understand, to me
that's like EJ Manuel.
Like that, for example, that's like a defensive end coming into a team that's playing a 4-3 defense, and then next time they come and they switch it to a 3-4.
Yes.
You're playing a whole different situation. That's something like, you make complete sense with that.
Exactly. So,
unfortunately, look at like what the Colts did with Jonathan Hankins.
Yes.
They picked him up as for a 3-4 defense. Now we're switching to 4-3. Don't like him in the 4-3.
Correct.
Got rid of him.
Correct. And I think people don't realize that about offensive. So it's just like
it's the same
thing. Drew Brees under Norv Turner versus Drew Brees under Sean Payton.
It's a different
much different player. Is Norv Turner a bad offensive coordinator that couldn't fulfill Drew Brees' talents? Or he was just better set for Phillip Rivers that was more under what Norv Turner wanted to do with the football?
I'm not didn't really study, but if I know is Norv Turner was more of a run first type of player.
Correct. With LaDainian Thomas.
And et cetera, et cetera. Like Turner. by Turner and Sproles and such. Like he was a big on running backs.
Correct.
Whereas Payton is almost of a you do what you do, baby, and wing it on the offense.
I think he's just super creative. He's willing to use whatever he has in his talents, and he's very creative at putting them into position.
He has no problem. And then once you prove him as a respectable quarterback, he has no problem keeping the ball in your hands. Those are what I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like the whole change.
So even I'll say Mark
the Hattenberg thing and the Sanchez situation.
I think his career was ruined because
Geno Smith situation. Like it was just all like they were just ruined by the fact of how it goes back to what we were saying is when the same top teams keep drafting in the top 5, there's a problem.
Trying those organizations.
There's a real problem.
Correct.
And it's not fair to the players that they're drafting.
Correct. I think with the Jets.
Look at Deshaun
With the Jets, part of it is the New York problem that I speak on. The fans. The fire Izzy banner over the practice and then Izzy being fired after one season. That actually put the Jets back 5 years.
Yes.
Because again, now everything has to reset.
Now you have to get.
Again, you had a GM for one season. He ran an entire draft. That entire draft is washed now.
No.
And a draft is 5 years of your team's equity.
No, you can't even just say that. You can say he ran the whole free agency, free agent transactions. The whole
one whole year.
Pretty much that whole 53-man roster was, I would probably say 80% was changed by the GM.
Correct.
Because first year coming in, you got to overhaul pretty much everything.
I think he drafted Geno Smith. I think he's the one that drafted Geno.
And then he's gone.
And then he was gone the very next year. Like
that's that unfortunate story where players. Shout out to Geno getting picked up by the Chargers.
Los Angeles Rams. Chargers.
Yeah, so getting picked up by beyond the Phillip Rivers, who is an aging Phillip Rivers. So
yeah, I'm excited.
You may see some time.
I'm excited.
And then that's a
Geno
team.
Has a lot of talent.
Just think about it. Geno with a maturing Melvin Gordon. Like they tied in. They picked up Henry.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name is getting real healthy. The wide receiver. What's that kid? Get his name. That kid.
The big guy.
Yeah, the kid.
He's tall.
He's very elusive. Wide receiver. He just plays in all positions. Keenan Allen.
Yes.
Keenan Allen. So it's just.
I also like Richard Sherman going to the.
San Francisco. 49ers. Yeah, that was nice, and him speaking out.
My guy Weston Richborn, former Giant, signed a big deal, 5 years, $47 million to be the center with the 49ers.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Frank Gore going to the Detroit Lions. No, Miami Dolphins. Sorry.
Correct. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 1 year, $3 million with Tampa Bay. I just love that he keeps getting work, and shout out to JPP being traded there. I think he should have a.
With him and Jerome.
He's finally back in Florida. That's where he's from. That's where he grew up at. So it's a big thing for him to be back home.
I think it'd be nice. Yeah,
he's back home. So
you can pair up there with some of those good defensive ends out there with McCoy and Michael Johnson.
We had Malcolm Butler also signed a big deal with the Tennessee Titans, 5 years, $61 million
to join his former New England Patriots teammate Logan Ryan. Mm-hmm. Jason McCourty goes back to the Patriots.
Deion Lewis also signs with the Titans, former Patriot.
Big money.
You know what I mean? 4 years, $20 million.
LeGarrette Blount went to Detroit.
Mm-hmm. We have Paul Richardson, wide receiver, that's with the Seahawks. He has signed for 5 years, $40 million with the Redskins.
You know something about Paul Richardson? I tell you, look at his highlights. It's always a big catch.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like no real route running catches. Just
like 2 catches for 78 yards.
Some big over the head catch. He's a small guy, but essentially looks.
I think he would do very well with Alex Smith.
Yeah, that's a perfect place for him because he normally makes plays when it's being extended plays.
Correct. As a Giant fan, I'm a little bit worried about that. I ain't gonna lie. They made some very good moves with the low. Also, the Eagles. Speaking of my Giants and the teams, Lodi Nada, Michael Bennett, both going to join that defensive line.
To get rid of Benny Lowe.
They added Nigel Graham, 5 years, $40 million. He's a pretty good linebacker. Mike Wallace also joins the team. 1 year, $2.5 million.
They got some. I'm saying
very nice additions there.
Like the Eagles look like they can continue. Oh, Cardinals send Jared Van Der, one of their former top picks, to the who they send him to? Oh, to Denver Broncos. Offensive tackle. I think that's good because he's like about 30-something years old, but I think he'd be a good trainer for Garrett Boyles, who they picked up a first-round pick a couple years ago. A good trainer. And probably a fill-in spot.
True. We see Danny Amendola go back to the Dolphins.
Yeah.
2 years, 12 mil.
Yeah, we had a couple of good trades. Yeah.
Oh, Mike Pouncey, 2 years, 15 mil with the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
That was a nice little move. Sammy Watkins, 3 years, 48 mil to go to Kansas City.
Yeah,
He's gonna be over that young quarterback. I think he's gonna have a supreme year.
Yeah, Rashawn Melvin from the Colts going to the Raiders.
Mm.
The Browns sending Kaiser to Green Bay. They send Cody Kessler to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Correct.
And Kevin Hogan to DC. Got rid of all their quarterbacks that they were supposed to be there. Yeah, there's been a few.
I want to shout out to the Colts for picking up Eric Ebron. I think that's a lovely move for them.
Yeah, that was a very interesting one because I spoke a lot about Eric Ebron. I was like, the Detroit should move forward from him because it's like he's been your top tight end and he hasn't produced at that level. But I think coming into where he's a best situation where now you go with a star quarterback and you're as the second tight end come in as an option. I think it could be a big numbers for him.
Fact, I think the Packers on the low had a supreme offseason. Picking up Deshaun Kaiser for the cheap to back up Aaron Rodgers in case Aaron Rodgers get hurt again. You got a nice young quarterback that could sit behind him, almost like Jimmy G did with Tom Brady.
Because
and speaking of like just Jimmy G's, Jimmy Graham signing with the Packers, 3 years, $30 million. That might be a very interesting selection. Muhammad Wilkerson joining over there, 1 year, $5 million. So the Packers had a pretty good offseason so far.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I don't know if Vikings could win that title again.
Yeah, Luke Wilson, though, going to Detroit to replace Ebron. Lucas had some pretty good years with the Seahawks. We had Devon Kennard from the Giants, outside linebacker, 3 years, $18 million to join the Detroit Lions. So, some good things going on. You had Case Keenum, 2 years, $36 million to go to Denver. The Cowboys have been pretty quiet, but they added Allen Hurns.
Who else? There was somebody that went to somewhere. Oh, the Bucks picking up Vinny Curry, former Eagle.
I think the Browns.
That's gonna be interesting. But you know what? I said that last year with the Bucks.
Yeah. But I thought the injury to the quarterback is what derailed everything.
They didn't really start off too good either.
But they lost some close games.
Yeah,
like they lost close games.
But you know, like with the pickup of Ryan Jensen for that guard position, I think that's gonna help.
I don't know about the cutting of Doug Martin though.
I do because his production hasn't been the same in the last 3 years, and he's been injuries, and that's a problem.
Yeah.
So I think coming into this draft, I think a nice option for them is if there's a lot of running backs in this draft that you can pick up and you can replace. And they had a decent Chris Sims, I think, who played pretty well for them sparingly. They could pick up if they're lucky they can get Geis. I think most likely their top pick is going to be a safety where they really need help. So Derwin James, who after looking at film, kind of edge him over Mika Fitzpatrick.
Really?
Yeah.
Derwin
James. I really do like him because I think he plays safety.
I'm not doing it.
I like him as safety.
I like him as a safety, but I like him as just a secondary player.
No, Mika is a great all around. He's decent all around. He's a great all around player. I can't say decent. Well, I can't really see. Well, you know what I'm gonna say in college. Yeah, I can't really predict what he's gonna look like in the NFL. But the way how I see James play, the fact that his disguises on the blitzes are just simply amazing. Okay. He plays the linebacker position better than some linebackers.
Okay.
And the fact that he can cover when the running back or tight end comes off the backfield, he's locking that down.
Okay.
And his recovery speed is almost spectacular.
But he played with Florida State. I mean, and I see my man Minka was at Alabama. He played in big games. I see him do it in big games against big time teams.
Yeah, but then I also see
with James. I just see you getting good pops.
I don't know. I don't think he was the
Jets last year.
I don't know about that because
the kid with the Jets, man. He reminded me of the kid with the Jets.
Jamal Adams.
Yeah, I ain't gonna front. It's a problem.
No, but
he's one of the best.
But I think Jamal Adams is more of a safety. I think Derwin James is actually a hybrid.
He's one of the Bucks.
He's everywhere. So and the fact that he has this great recovery and he has these long arms where it's just if you're gonna throw the ball, it gotta be accurate. So. I don't know. I kind of do as I keep looking more at the film, and then
I keep seeing him go.
Then we look at Alabama. That is a full squad of team.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Now you got Deron Payne, who creates pressure almost every down.
They got talent everywhere through that.
They got the corner that's gonna get drafted. Evans is gonna get drafted, probably top pick. So it's like it's a really star-studded team. So that's why I kind of get a little edge. Yeah. So it's like when Mika plays,
he's with all stars.
That's
so, it's almost like the kid.
I want to give him one. Like I want to give him
the corner they drafted with the Jets that just never made it. He came, I think, from Alabama. But there was a corner that they drafted to be outside of Reeves.
Bust a screen?
Nah.
No. What are you talking about?
Nah, he was a smaller guy. He was a little smaller.
I think I know what you're talking about.
He was on the outside of Reeves, and they was hoping that he would make it.
If I get his name, I'm gonna say it. I think I know what you're talking about. If I can find out who you're talking about, but yeah, I think that's gonna be.
He never developed right, but we also had the Bills made a bunch of moves. AJ McCarron, 2 years, $10 million. Looks like they signed Trent Murphy. Looks like a defensive end, 3 years, $22 million. Defensive tackle Star Latuli from the Panthers.
Yeah.
5 years, $50 million. Big time deal there. Speaking of the Panthers, they signed a defensive tackle, Dontario Pope. 3 years, $27 million. And then the Bears had quite a few moves they made. Allen Robinson, 3 years, $42 million that you mentioned. Mm-hmm. Trey Burton, tight end, 4 years, $32 million. Taylor Gabriel, that's the wide receiver for the Falcons, 4 years, $26 million. Prince of Mukamara, 3 years, $27 million. Kyle Fuller, corner, 4 years, $56 million. So it looks like the Bears have spent a lot of money this offseason.
Yeah, they're trying to.
They're trying. Well, they had the Browns had a pretty good start. They had they brought in Tyrod Taylor,
D. Milner.
There it is. That's exactly the man's name. D. Milner, like, yeah.
Oh,
hyped up.
Is he?
He was hyped up, and then he just never. As soon as he touched the NFL, he just kept just like you got out physical.
So that's why I was like, it kind of scares me. But like, it's been a lot of transactions in this thing. I think we could